I'm Ryan Peck.
And I'm Nicole Barlow.
And this is Soundtrack Your Life, where we talk to a guest about a soundtrack that they feel connected to. Today we welcome back Tara Giancaspro. She's a pop culture writer who's got a great Substack. She's also a great singer-songwriter. Welcome back, Tara.
Shalom, guys. Thank you for having me, despite all the technical difficulties we just faced. I feel like we're closer than ever now.
Yeah, well, you can watch us in panic mode.
Is that trauma bonding? Is that what we call trauma bonding these days?
Until you've lived through a lively round of unsuccessful tech support as a team, you aren't really true friends.
Perfect. Well, now we're there. Great. So we'll get matching tattoos. Are they going to say, welcome to the podcast, bitch?
Oh, we're going to get there.
Easy enough.
I actually asked Ryan over text last night. I'm like, listen, what's the upper ceiling on how many times I can say welcome to the OC, bitch? Because I feel entitled to it. I'm in the OC. I'm OC born and bred.
Yeah. Can I tell you my stupid little OC story to start this off?
Yes.
I went to my friend Latoya Ferguson, who is a great pop culture writer. She wrote a book it's the Encyclopedia of Women in Wrestling. She's amazing. She's a huge OC person. And when she visited me in New York, this had to be 10 plus years ago now, she took me to an OC anniversary party. It was at Videology in Brooklyn. Rest in peace. Greatest bar. And I'm there and they're watching episodes of the show and doing trivia. And I dressed up not as Sandy Cohen, as Sandy Cohen's eyebrows. I made this like the masquerade style masks with the stick that you hold.
Oh, yes.
I made that, and I made these two giant eyebrows out of black construction paper, and I had a little cute black dress on, and I wore these little eyebrows as my costume, and then I tweeted at Peter Gallagher like, hey, I dressed up as you tonight, and he goes, we're wearing the same thing, one of us is gonna have to change. Which, I was driving home that night, it was like 5 a.m. We all stayed out so late and I almost crashed my car because I saw that Twitter notification come in. I was like, oh my God, Peter Gallagher. Like, I could not believe. But that is how much I love this show. Hi, guys.
I mean, what a stellar intro. First of all, the vision to be not Sandy Cohen, but Sandy Cohen's eyebrows is genius. This is why we've wanted you back, Tara. This is why everyone needs to be on your Substack. Ryan and I live for it. You've no idea.
Thank you. My babies. I love this. I love y'all. Thank you.
We have previously plugged the Substack, I think, when we were talking about Barbie.
I saw. I'm so appreciative. It's been a real passion project, like as if I needed another excuse to talk. It's just work. I've had a couple people, they're like reacting to it. They're like, they'll like the post when I say, I have a new post up, and I'll message them like, but did you read it? And the most common answer is some of it. Like, you dicks. Like, I know I talk a lot, but you're allowed to skim. So yes, thank you for the love. It's been really fun. I'm actually, if anybody listening to this like can stand me by the end of the episode, I need to do a playlist. I really haven't done many. So if any of you guys have playlist ideas based off of any of the dumb shit that I've said, please, reach out to me. Like weird, obscure playlist ideas, about as obscure as you would think for someone who has cosplayed Sandy Cohen's goddamn eyebrows.
You could do a playlist about songs that make Sandy Cohen's eyebrows raise.
It's going to be a lot of the Grease Broadway soundtrack. It's going to be a lot of that for Mr. Peter Gallagher, who I've seen. I almost bumped into him seeing Jagged Little Pill. He walked into the theater because his daughter was in the show, and I walked past. This was a couple years ago, and I didn't say anything about the eyebrows. I was just like, and like kind of ran away because he walked right past me. He looks great. He looks goddamn great. Everybody from the show looks pretty good, though. Like Rachel Bilson, I see, because People Magazine will be posting about her podcast. I'm like, she looks great. Mr. Ben McKenzie, my crush from day one, now the anti-crypto king. To the folks at home, Ben McKenzie wrote a book about how much crypto and crypto culture sucks. And his whole Twitter is like, you see these broke bitches now? What did I tell you? And it's so funny.
Wow.
That Wood is like the anti-crypto crusader. Mr. Adam Brody looking goddamn great in the Shazam movies. Like, hello, superhero costume that was meant to be. Everybody looks good. Everybody's like holding up.
Well, Adam Brody is, I think, America's boyfriend, right? I mean, at one time, I feel like that was his official moniker. We all voted. Very democratic process.
I mean, he's the man who kind of got me into Death Cab. So yes, I owe him that. Also, I don't know if you've seen, and this is something I can send you. There's a photo of him with his wife, Leighton Meester, and he's just kind of holding firm onto her neck as they're posing next to each other. Riveting material, let's just say. I'm going to send it to you if you want to include it, like with the little Instagram post announcing this, but riveting, awakening. It's a lot. It's a lot. I've thought of
awakening as much as I want.
Let's back up for a second. We are talking about Josh Schwartz's The OC, which was from 2003 to 2007.
Yes.
You probably already got that from us talking about the Coen family, the fictional Coen family.
Don't salt their game.
Speaking of Adam Brody.
Yes.
Interesting little story.
Oh.
So I was in high school, and I never had this teacher, but she was the teacher who, I guess, was the sponsor of the literary magazine club.
Okay.
Which I decided that I was going to be part of because I thought I was Max Fisher in high school, and I needed to join a bunch of clubs to get into college.
Oh, are they? One of my favorite movies. Excellent.
So, during these lunchtime periods where I would go through these literary magazine submissions, I'd be chatting it up with Mrs. Jones, and she was like, "Oh, I have this student that graduated a few years ago. He's doing like TV shows and movies now, and I guess he was in not the Brady Bunch movie, but he was in like a reenacting the Brady Bunch behind the scenes drama movie."
Yes.
And she goes, "Oh, his name is Adam. He like emails me every now and then." And then, so I never met him, but I was a few years younger than Adam Brody. We had this teacher connection from my high school.
I'm obsessed that he is the type, like, again, as you said, Nicole, like America's dream boyfriend. He's the type who still emails his teacher, like, "Thank you for inspiring me." Like, king.
Here's me at my premiere of my Brady Bunch behind the scenes thing.
Yeah.
I have no firsthand evidence of this. I've never met Adam Brody. I don't even have like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing through some high school teacher, but I've always gotten the best vibe from him. And, obviously I think a lot of that is based on a perception of him from the character of Seth Cohen, and this kind of like fantasy version of Orange County that's very much lensed through him and his musical tastes and, his constant obsession with the bait shop. Like, he really was like the heart of the show.
Oh, the bait shop. I can't think about Rooney without thinking about the bait shop. I think about Rooney often because one of my fictional boyfriends, Mr. Michael Moskowitz of Princess Diary fame, is Rooney. That's Robert Schwartzman, but then also Robert Carmine, because for a while, for some reason, he was like, "I don't want to be affiliated with the Coppolas." Like, bitch, be affiliated with the Coppolas.
Well, he was also almost Robert Cage.
Your mother is Talia Shire. Your mother is Yo Adrian.
Yeah.
Own the lineage, dude.
Right.
Like,
that's dynastic shit that you're ignoring.
Look at you dropping dynastic in here. Someone cracked open the thesaurus. I'm so proud of you.
She is English lit.
I'm annoying.
No, I love it. I love a good $3 word, Also, I have to own my truth here. I have to make a confession. You both know this now, but I absolutely spent this entire week leading up to this looking up for some reason One Tree Hill. The entire One Tree Hill soundtrack. There is a Google Doc. I went through TuneFind. I went through every single episode for the first 4 seasons. So we are in for a fun, unexpected, spontaneous little dip dive for yours truly here.
I wasn't going to bring it up, by the way.
I feel like I need to own it. I feel like the listeners need to know the truth. You know, we're modern people. We have to cancel ourselves. We have to submit our own Notes app apologies, even when no one knew that anything happened. It's the culture. It's the zeitgeist. So here's my Notes app apology. I absolutely looked up One Tree Hill, but I now have the Wikipedia page open for the OC, and I'm looking at every single song, and I'm like, yeah. I remember listening to every single one of these songs vividly on the show. And then on my like first iPod, I had like the little turquoise guy. I remember listening to many of these songs on the little turquoise guy.
Or let's start with the soundtrack supervisor before we jump into all the different songs that she chose for this. Her name is Alexandra Patsavas.
Alexandra Patsavas, you will always be famous.
She will always be famous.
Always be famous.
So famous that she was name dropped in an episode of Girls.
Oh, that's really funny. I love that. Good for her.
She's name dropped. Like I haven't really watched Girls, but I guess they're trying to get a song picked. I guess a song gets picked up for like licensing in the show, and they're like, "Oh my God, Alexandra Patsavas is licensing our song."
That's really cute. I'm happy for her. I truly wish that I was a music supervisor. Like that to me is a dream career. Like I don't dream of labor, but that feels like a job that would just be kind of fun. I do that in my head.
That is my secret dream of this podcast, that they'll be like, oh, Ryan and Nicole and
what you're talking about.
Yeah, they should supervise the soundtrack for us.
Yeah, I'm glad we all share that dream. That would be like really, I mean, I grew up listening to all the songs from the OC and Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy was huge. Like,
also Alexandra Patsavas.
Look at that. Look at her. Love this for her. One Tree Hill obviously was big time for me, but like these shows that they informed so much of my musical taste, and it's because of these people behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think the last 20 years of music she's had a huge influence on. Like we said, OC, Grey's Anatomy, The Hunger Games, Twilight.
Oh God!
Basically anything Shonda has done.
Was she
anything Josh Schwartz
for bringing like Decode into the Twilight soundtrack?
Probably.
I mean, where is the star on the Walk of Fame? Like, her ears need to be bronzed after her death and put in the Smithsonian. Like, we really need to get the flowers festooned upon her now, but then also like plan for the legacy in the future. This is, listen, whoever brought Decode to, I mean, obviously Haley Williams, but Haley Williams, America's sweetheart. Like, we already know. We already give her flowers. Miss Alexandra Patsavas, we need, I don't know, we need like a parade, like a New York ticker tape style parade where we all just scream like Death Cab and the 88 lyrics at her.
No, I think that like her sort of contribution to culture shouldn't be underestimated here, because the OC really did break a lot of great indie bands in the early aughts. So this is a time when people are not exposed to music in the way that we're exposed to music now. The OC made 6 different mixes, so 6 different albums that represented all the music from the show. They worked really closely with Sub Pop. I think arguably Death Cab is like a second character in the show itself, because it's Seth's favorite band, and it comes up not only in the soundtrack, but Death Cab comes up, as like a plot point in the show.
Yeah, he makes the Christmas bundle with like Death Cab and Bright Eyes, and I think that's how I first learned about Bright Eyes too, was this show. I mean, they launched, and obviously the Imogen Heap song, the hide and seek of it all. Mm-hmm. What this show is the reason. This show is the reason the Andy Samberg Lonely Island clip exists. Like, they really did have these musical zeitgeist moments, even in addition to your famous quotes or like images that you picture from the show or character archetypes. It really did launch musical moments. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This show was pretty formative, and not just for me. I mean, I've seen so many people talk about the OC getting them into Death Cab or Bright Eyes or like Alexi Murdoch, like these types of artists, Was Sufjan had to be somewhere in the OC soundtrack.
Sufjan was definitely in the mix.
Oh,
Yes, there's
yeah.
some stuff from Michigan, all the way back to the Michigan album from Sufjan.
We have
Seven Swans.
Dear Mr. Supercomputer. We have To Be Alone With You, which is on mix 4. We have For the Widows in Paradise, For the Fatherless in Ypsilanti. I don't even know how to say that. I'm from the East Coast. I don't know how to do that.
We don't do that here.
And The Incarnation. So yeah, you got 4 Sufjan songs in here.
So when I was looking this up beforehand, because there was like such a deep well of OC music that I had kind of forgotten about, but it brought up and bubbled up all these like really nice like indie memories. Do you guys know like the top artist that appears the most frequently throughout these mixes? Like who has the most songs across mixes?
The Eels.
The Thrills are quite up there. I'm literally.
You think it's gonna be Death Cab, but it's not.
No, let's see. I mean, Rooney has quite a bit, and now I'm looking at the list of like every artist that is on the show. Period. A lot of Pinback.
There's 2 funny things.
Right?
So it's Guster. Guster has 9 songs across the 6 OC mixes, which is so funny to me because I find Guster to be like kind of mid. I don't know why. Maybe they were just really inexpensive. But really funny. Also, there was an entire episode of the OC that was dedicated like essentially to rolling out Beck's Guero album when it came out in 2005. So they're like, yeah, the Beckisode, which is like a thing where they tried to make fetch happen, I think, with Beck. 5 songs pumped into one episode, which is hilarious to me. I kind of love like Beck's commitment to unusual marketing. There's also like an entire Simpsons episode.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. You got to wonder where like Scientology was and wasn't in these rollouts. I'm looking at the list right now. I think we need a full 8 minutes to just talk about Jem. Like Jem doing the Maybe I'm Amazed cover during the wedding where she's there. I still have, to this day, it is still on my Western Digital hard drive, the version of Maybe I'm Amazed that I had to rip from LimeWire, where you have Ryan and Marissa like talking and he's leaving and she's like, I don't want you to go. He's like, I have to. Like, that's the version I know to this day. Because kids, before we had Apple Music and Spotify, you had to just download shit from LimeWire and Kazaa. And half the time you would download something, they would punish you for torrenting by either having Bill Clinton going, I did not have sex with this woman. Or RuPaul doing some like bitch you guessed it monologue, and I think you both know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
like,
I do.
Excuse me, this is not the time for you to be downloading this music. Like it's RuPaul going full. I don't know why. Like, did they hire RuPaul to do this? I don't know. But yeah, half the time I'd be downloading clips of like the Cass Van Rye, Sherry O'Terry SNL episodes. And instead of getting a video of some SNL clip that I wanted, it was Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Or, your little Mac that looked like the lamp from Pixar would be overheating and on for like 3 days so that you could download like the super obscure album that you couldn't find at your local store. And then it was a completely different album.
Oh, yeah. There's a song called, I think it's called Don't Laugh. And it's like wrongfully credited all the time, apparently, to Atreyu, but apparently it's not Atreyu. And for some reason, everyone I know has this song downloaded. We don't know how we found it or why, but it must have been one of those songs that was like wrongly sent on LimeWire. Like if we were downloading something else would come up.
Right.
But this song, I truly think was like a guerrilla marketing, like they did guerrilla marketing through LimeWire, except that no one's ever come forward as like, yeah, oh yeah, that was us. I don't know.
Identify yourselves if you're listening.
LimeWire.
They
forgot like the most important part is so people will eventually find us.
I knew, yeah. I feel like LimeWire, Forever 21 not long ago did some kind of collaboration with the U.S. Postal Service, not the Postal Service band, the U.S. Postal Service, the Institute. And it was like a merch drop. And I think part of it was to get, some proceeds towards the U.S. Postal Service, which is really cool. They should do that with LimeWire. Like whoever still owns the rights to the LimeWire logo or like the Bear Share logo should do this, because I would honestly absolutely buy a full scale like sweatsuit, like cap. I don't do bucket hats, but I'll do like a cap and like LimeWire socks. I would wear this outfit in full on the street to like go drop off my returns down the street.
The nostalgia that I feel for LimeWire is not like the nostalgia I feel for other things, and I too would absolutely rock the head to toe LimeWire fit.
I'm saying, like, despite the fact that I tried to download the second Los Campesinos album and my entire computer caught a virus and died the entire computer, my mom had to hire her friend Kathy's nephew AJ to come over and fix the entire computer. I would still download, like I just said download. You know, it's like that meme, like you wouldn't download a pizza. It's like, yes, I would. I would also illegally download the LimeWire tracksuit. But yes, I would buy this. And I think if anyone is listening that like works for Forever 21 or Urban Outfitters, please put the content deal together and give me the entire free wardrobe of it.
No, at first I was like, what if it were a velour tracksuit that just said like LimeWire across the ass? But then where would you put the lime? It becomes an issue.
No, it should say Kazaa on the ass.
I would. Yeah, but you're giggling. You're both giggling here. Yeah. I would not be giggling. I would just be
and
like,
it's green, obviously. It's clearly green. Yeah. No, I take my money. Take my money.
I remember when Linkin Park dropped Meteora, they put out like these fake tracks on like LimeWire where like it starts as their song and then it ends up them like lecturing you for like being a bad fan and not purchasing their music.
Wow.
God.
It's a little much. I do think though that like there's a distinct curated by your own LimeWire kind of feeling, kind of vibe to all 6 OC mixes. So going through them definitely brought up all of those memories of like, oh yeah, no, I absolutely had this like illegally burned onto a CD.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this like I Am Clute. I never once bought an I Am Clute CD, but I absolutely loved their song Proof, and I absolutely downloaded that illegally. So that is a song I have only ever owned because of LimeWire. Yeah, wow. I'm looking at the list right now, and I just got to Guster, and you're right. It's so many songs. Meanwhile,
it's so many songs, and also like you brought up covers, right? I feel like in any mix on a soundtrack, there's always some like really important cover. There's always like a reliance on covers. You brought up Maybe I'm Amazed. There is a cover. There's a Jeff Buckley cover of Hallelujah on here.
Oh, I remember it well.
Do you remember that? It happens in that scene where like Seth is like setting sail.
I remember.
Very Dawson's Creek coded, where it's just like, no, I'm now going to sail my boat out of the Newport Harbor to the tune of Hallelujah.
They also had specifically done a cover of Champagne Supernova by Matt Pond, PA, and it was like made for the show.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Matt Pond shows up quite a bit too.
There's a Not a Surf cover of If You Leave, the OMD song.
So yeah, Matt Pond had Champagne Supernova as a cover, In the Airplane Over the Sea as a cover, which I remember, and then another song. And you said Not a Surf. Not a Surf I got into through these shows, through the OC, probably more through One Tree Hill, because One Tree Hill like had them on the show. But this was the era in which I got into them. I've gotten to see them live, which was very exciting. But God, I could just talk to you guys about Not a Surf forever. Like Inside of Love, I probably listened to. There was one day this year where I listened to it probably 57 times, just on repeat. I was deep in my feelings, like 6 feet under my own feelings.
I was gonna say, did you get a wellness check? Just
yeah, I just was having like a bummy ass day. It was probably like a little PMDD moment, and I like needed to be in my feels. So I remember listening to it in my job parking lot, like pulling out of the parking lot, and I was like, I should probably put on something else, like some Robin, something a little happier. You know, anything really. Oh wait, I'm looking at the list now. My favorite song, which the crossover between the OC and One Tree Hill soundtracks actually proves convenient given how much research I was doing for the show this week.
You're cross-referencing the Google Docs right now?
Yeah, because 9 Black Alps, Unsatisfied, I remember the exact moment it was playing during One Tree Hill. It's during a basketball game, but it's also in the OC soundtrack. A lot of them, like, not only pick the same artist, but the same songs. It's very interesting.
But
yes.
Different soundtrack supervisor, I believe.
Yeah, and I wonder if they were, like, gently copying each other. They certainly weren't making sure that the other wasn't including it, so...
Well, I'm going to go to bat for Alexandra and say they were copying her.
That's what I'm saying. I want to roll up for my friend here, Alexandra, who doesn't know I exist, but, you know, she's now, like, bestie in my mind. Wow, there's so many covers on this. You're right.
Before we continue with our episode, here's a word from our sponsor.
Enjoy listening to podcasts and ever wonder, can I make a podcast? But it seems so complicated, and good audio production can take time. What if there was a way to create an amazing podcast easily? Well, now there is. Introducing Podcasting Made Easy from Podtastic Audio. My production team will handle your entire audio production, allowing you to be the star of your show. This is Podcasting Made Easy. How easy? Well, so easy, you don't even have to press record. Now that's easy. Your listeners are waiting. Let's deliver. Sign up for a free strategy call today at podtasticaudio.com/easy.
This is like the era of Nada Surf where they signed to Barstool Records, which is also where Death Cab for Cutie came from. And I feel like there's a synergy between those two bands at this time.
Yeah. Wow, there's so much Jet. Sorry, I'm just scrolling at this point. Where do you guys want to, like, really just pick and dive in? Because otherwise I will take you on, like, a severely Vyvanse deficient journey through my experiences of these songs.
Well, let's do a little segment devoted to Death Cab, because I feel like Death Cab is obviously, like, kind of the defining band of this soundtrack, because of their, you know, sort of how they pertain to the plot and to Seth, and the fact that they are, you know, always coming up. Everybody's seen, like, the very memeable, like, screen grab of Seth holding, like, paper tickets to Death Cab for Cutie for the bait shop. It's kind of how I think of this show, is, like, for me, I can remember this show coming out, living in Orange County, having it be kind of like appointment viewing for a while, because it's wildly hilarious to have your, like, suburban hometown shouted out like this, like, every week on Fox. Completely hilarious.
As well as Arrested Development.
Right. Well, Arrested Development, like, kind of came a little bit later, I want to say, and was more... it was less oriented around, you know, youth culture, right? Is this being specifically about youth culture, and then being a youth in Orange County at that same time was a real trip, because none of these things were real. They were, like, obviously, you know, like, pure fantasy. We do not have a venue in Newport Beach or anywhere else in Orange County. The closest thing we have is a grungy all ages punk place called Chain Reaction, where my brother-in-law used to, like, strip naked and make people sandwiches sometimes. So, like, we don't have, like, a music culture. It's not like we have, like, that Peach Pit, like, type place.
Well, it's just a bunch of punk hardcore and ska bands. We have Ska Pesh Mode.
Wait, I have more questions about the naked sandwich making. Why was... I understand that for sandwich making, salad dressing was involved. Why was undressing involved?
Yeah, I mean, essentially it was just, like, kind of an unregulated and unmanaged all ages venue. And I think he probably got paid, like, $5 an hour under the counter to work there, and just kind of found new ways to, like, upset and shock people every time he walked in. So... That was more or less the vibe. Is, like, you might see your friend's punk band. You're probably going to encounter people in Orange County that are really into, like, I don't know, Flogging Molly and 311 and, like, bands that you would see play at your local dive bar. But
I don't know if it was like a sandwiches situation, or he was just, like, being a little bit of a shock jock type.
A little bit of a shock jock type. Yeah, there's this more the latter thing. But I think being a kid who at that point was, you know, trying to get into indie rock and discover new artists and all of that stuff, I think a lot of us felt very seen by Seth Cohen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So growing up where you did, like, did any of it resonate as true? Did it resonate in the sense of this is the way we dress, or like this is the way that we speak, or the class differences? Like, did anything really feel correct to you?
Absolutely fucking not. The funniest thing to me is how, like, when when Ryan, like, has his baby with, like, the girlfriend from Chino, like,
Yes.
Chino and Newport Beach are, like, it's like a 40-minute drive, guys.
With
Like,
no
it's
traffic.
not like they're putting an ocean between them.
Yeah.
Chino is also, like, butts up right next to my hometown, which is technically in Orange County. Chino is, like, it's not exactly like the armpit of the world or anything. It is in itself, like, another suburb. So it's pretty funny. Like,
It's so dramatic, and that it's name checked. It's not even like we made up a different town where it's going to be like,
no,
they didn't create Gotham City for this.
Though people do say Chino smells like cows.
It smells like cats.
Cows, like cow
Oh,
poop.
you said cats. I was
it
like,
does. Like, or it
cats.
used to. I think it used to more, because there used to be, like, more agriculture there. And so, like, yeah, you know, a little bit more.
I thought you said cats, and I'm holding a cat right now, not that the listeners can see, and I'm like, her head is occasionally stinky. But like my son doesn't smell. Only Simone, the beautiful model, who
Go
sometimes
back to Chino, that smells where it smells like cats.
it smells like cat. So apparently it smells like cows. Okay, yeah, cows don't always smell.
So
great.
was it a realistic depiction of the
Not at
OC? No. Was anybody actually calling it the OC prior to the show coming out? No. But as a fantasy, I think it really made a lot of us feel like, okay, yeah, I'm relating to that, and it felt like it was very much like of its moment.
Yeah.
And the music is so much of, I think, what made it special, and I think what made it stand out a lot alongside a lot of the other teen soaps of its time.
Wait, I have one last distracting question. Does the movie Orange County hold any resonance for you of the culture that you grew up in?
I don't think I've ever seen the movie Orange County. Is that embarrassing? Is that weird?
No, I mean, but like
seen it.
you know famously that the song. Do you know the whole thing with the song in the movie?
You're gonna have to remind me, because now I'm completely.
Orange County, the movie, basically a plot point and a character is the song Butterfly. You know, come my lady, come my lady. You're my butterfly.
We've talked about
No,
Butterfly.
we know, yes.
Okay, so that's
We
what,
know
like,
a crazy town.
Yes, Crazy Town. Okay, so that movie, I'm very curious. Please text me someday whenever you watch that and tell me if that feels more on the nose to what you grew up in.
Well, again, you already mentioned, like, Crazy Town, and that's kind of what I think of the same era. Like, the reality is people were listening to Crazy Town and Alien Ant Farm and Sublime and, like, things that were not necessarily in this very, like, at this point, fringe world of indie rock, where it took a lot of commitment to downloading obscure cover songs on LimeWire if you wanted to, like, actually, you know, be part of this scene. I think people forget that there's, like, a certain amount of commitment to chasing down things that you've heard a little piece of and you want more of at this period of time. And I think,
and you couldn't even Shazam it.
You couldn't Shazam. There's no Shazam. Shazam was just like a Shaq movie.
You would have to look up lyrics. Like, I remember when I was growing up, I watched Tiny Toons as a kid, and there was this whole clip where they're going through, like, Constantinople, as they call Constantinople. And I remember as a kid seeing this and loving the song. And one day I walked into my 9th grade classroom, and Mr. Zerberg, our teacher, was playing the song. And I went, what the fuck? I've been looking for this song since I was like 5. And he was like, it's They Might Be Giants. And I was like, oh my God, I found it. Like, you just had to go through life with these songs that got away, and then eventually you would run into them, and you're just like, oh my God, wait. I literally listened to this song all the time on the radio as a kid, and I did not know how to find it. You would have to Google the lyrics if you could remember the lyrics. That's how I used to find all the songs from these TV shows until, like, TuneFind and all of those shows came, like, those websites came about.
I'm glad you brought up that specific Tiny Toons example, because I've been telling people about this for like years. I was like, do you remember Tiny Toons? They did like a They Might Be Giants episode. People are like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, they did like an animated music video for Constantinople, and they did one for Particle Man as well.
Yeah.
And like the whole episode was like just parodying like MTV VJs, and then they would cut to these music videos, which would be They Might Be Giant songs.
They're bringing back Tiny Toons. I'm wondering if, like, especially because you have a kid, like, I'm wondering if we'll enjoy watching that. I just saw someone I follow on Instagram is one of the voices for one of the characters, and yeah, and she talked about it, and I was like, oh my God, I would watch that and see if it still has that same like attention to invoking older cultural touchstones. But now it's weird because the OC now is an older cultural touchstone, which like makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, well, I mean, now we're sitting at the precipice of a point where you've already been to one of the first shows on this tour, but we're sitting at a point of peak millennial nostalgia where everyone is going to the Death Cab and Postal Service Transatlanticism Give Up tour. Which feels like if I don't see Adam Brody there when I go to the Hollywood Bowl in LA, I'm going to be really disappointed. Like, can he just intro the band or something? It feels important to me.
I did not see anyone like of celebrity note in New York. I did go to Madison Square Garden for the second night. The only thing, and it's not a spoiler, the only thing that I mean, you kind of can't spoil it, it's the albums, but they wear, I think for the Postal Service set, they wear Rodarte. So, like Ben Gibbard wearing Rodarte, which feels really weird because I think all of us still picture Ben Gibbard as like thick Ben Gibbard.
Yeah, he's done a lot of running.
Very much for me. Listen, thick Ben Gibbard was like a type for me. Probably more a type than current Ben Gibbard.
I don't know why, but like the combination of words thick Ben Gibbard is never going to leave my head.
I feel like thin Ben Gibbard looks too much like I know he is a middle-aged man, but he looks too much like a dad now.
And he doesn't have kids, but yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. So like
Like I saw them on like Colbert or something doing like during the last album rollout, and I was just like, man, he's never looked like a cool guy, but I was like, oh, he definitely looks like, you know, he's too much of an adult right now.
I think he looks very adult. The one thing though that I will say is, and like, listen, I love Ben Gibbard at any size, any age, anything. I love that man. I've always loved that man. I will always love that man. But when he came out in the Rodarte outfits, they're all white. So Death Cab, everybody's wearing dark clothes, and then Postal Service, everybody's wearing lighter colored clothes. And Ben Gibbard walking out in this like white button down and white pants. I looked at my friend Claudia and I was like, is he going to play fucking tennis? Like, I couldn't get over. Like, he just looked like he was like, he should have had a little like sweater over his, like tied around his neck over his shoulders.
Yeah, but that's actually the first thing you see when you enter indie heaven.
Is Ben Gibbard playing like shuttlecock with
thin Ben Gibbard and all
He's
white.
Playing tennis with Stephen Malcolmus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, like Jay Mascis is keeping score. You're just like, this is it.
Jarvis Cocker is there. We don't know why.
Jarvis Cocker's always there. But so folks, if you are debating getting tickets to the concert, do it. I thought it was really great seeing Transatlanticism with all these people. It's great. There's not much to spoil, although, you know, like no one came out for ours. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody comes out as like a guest to sing on one of the shows that you go to, if it's in like, especially if it was in like Seattle or like a hometown.
I just want Chris Walla back.
Listen,
don't we all?
Everybody wants Chris Walla back. I mean, no disrespect to the new team. The new team is pretty good, but like, you know, love to Chris Walla. We all love Chris Walla here. We're all, what's the Walla, like Walla Maniacs? Like what is the Wallenda?
That's a good way to go. I like Walla Maniacs.
Is it the Wallendas? Like the flying Wallendas? It should be the Wallendas or the Wallandas. That's what it's going to be, I think.
That's a funny little Twitter story about Chris Walla. Yes. So we had Courtney Smith. She used to work at MTV and she's been in the music biz. She was on our show. And so I follow her, and she was talking about how randomly, like when one of the Chemical Brothers will post on Facebook, she'll get it because I guess they like became friends on Facebook at one point, and she kind of forgets about it. And then Chris Walla made a joke about how the Chemical Brothers and Property Brothers should do like a show together. And then it was like the day that Zoe got married to one of them, or the news came out about it. And then like a few hours later, he's like, oh shit, like I'm not trying, like I didn't make that joke because I just found out about the new, and like we're like, Chris Walla, we know you're not taking subliminals at Ben.
Yeah, like, or Zoe, like it's you know, but no, that's cute. I feel like everyone I know has some kind of Twitter story about Chris Walla. Like,
I don't have a Twitter story about Chris Walla, but I interviewed
him. Well, you're more of a Wallenda than the rest of us, apparently.
The OG president.
It was the photo booth tour, or after
Oh,
or
wow.
photo album tour.
Yeah.
I was supposed to interview the whole band, but Ben was sick. He still played the show, but he was not feeling well. So I ended up interviewing Chris Walla and Nick and their old drummer before Jason McGurr joined the band. And Chris Walla is the nicest guy in the world. Like, they almost didn't let us back in the venue later because, like, we went to go have dinner, and they're like, "Oh, you're not on the list." And I was like, "Go ask Chris Walla." And Chris Walla's like, "Yeah, they're with us." And so we got to go see. So forever, I will be in debt to Chris Walla.
God, yes. You mentioned the Chemical Brothers. I'm seeing at least 3 songs of theirs on the OC in seasons 1, 2, and 4.
Were they all during Marissa's drug period? Was it something like that?
Yeah, who was listening to British electronic music on that show?
Leave Home, Marvo Ging, and Out of Control are the 3.
My knowledge of the OC as a show is not encyclopedic, so I'm kind of working out.
I'm surprised they didn't have that one song with Q-Tip that they play at all those sporting events.
Yeah, there's a T.I. song I think snuck in here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm seeing Chingy. Yeah, T.I. guest starred as himself at one point. He did. Oh yeah, he did bring him out.
Oh, here's what's really crazy too about this show to me. So not only did it have all this great music supervision and obviously all of these kind of breaking indie artists, but a lot of these acts performed on the show as part of a concert at the bait shop. So Rooney, Gem, The Walkmen, The Killers, Modest Mouse played in an episode of the show. Death Cab played in an episode of the show, Natch. That's crazy.
That was smart. I mean, that really, and you mentioned the Peach Pit before, but that's what they did on 90210. And I'm guessing that the creative teams behind these shows said, you know what, kids really like this. And we can, if they love a band, kids who don't watch the show will be inclined to check out the show if they hear that their favorite artist is going to be on it this week and like have a line. One Tree Hill did this with Trick. I mean, they had Pete Wentz played himself and then like dated a character in the show. So that, you know, they even
also doesn't surprise me.
Which is unsurprising, but insane.
Yeah. First of all, the age difference, like, should have thrown Pete Wentz in jail. But second, there's a scene where he goes away they have like a camping trip where the cast goes on this camping trip and Peyton is dating Pete Wentz. And there's a little montage of like everybody hanging out and getting ready. And you see like Brooke in the mirror putting on her eyeliner and the other girl in the mirror putting on her eyeliner. And it pans over to Pete Wentz also putting on his eyeliner. And it's like, what a good sport that man is, because that's such a cute little moment to include in the show. Like I remember watching it. I was like, oh, that's so stupid. I love this so much. Cause it's Pete Wentz just like putting on his eyeliner along with the girls. I was like, that's fun. Good for you, Pete. But yeah, the age difference was the problem.
Yeah, as you said, jail. But I do think there's definitely a trend towards that kind of integration. This is my like Jack Donaghy voice where I'm like, synergy lemon. Like that's how I'm pretty sure this was all, you know, very carefully orchestrated.
Well, they said they wanted the music to be like a character on the show. That's
and it is, but it's also there's also some very blatant, you know, marketing ploys, right? Like the Beastie Boys premiered "Check It Out" on this fucking show, which is so weird to me.
Didn't U2 also drop a song?
U2 drops a song on your iPhone, on the Sing.
No, they dropped an album on our iPhone.
You know, but really, like U2's like it's the LimeWire virus. They're there whether you want them to be or not.
YouTube had Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own on One Tree Hill, and How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb did come out, not on One Tree Hill, on the OC. Again, this is my big fuck up of my life here.
Confusing the Google Docs, Tara.
Yes. How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb came out in 2004, so it would make sense that they would have like premiered it in some way on the OC. I don't know if they do this with shows now, because like I watched every episode of Riverdale. Every single one. And they never really had an artist come to the show to do something. And they very easily could have, but they instead just have the cast do these musical episodes, or they'll have like Camila Mendes do a song, like a cover. They had Lily Reinhart do a cover of Mad World. They could have probably had like I don't know, like Tinashe or something come on on Riverdale. Oh my God, I keep saying One Tree Hill. Could have had Tinashe come on Riverdale and do a song or something because she's like someone's cousin. I don't know if younger kids, like kids who are teens now, would love this concept of infusing their shows with bands and performers in the show or not.
I think they would find it cringe, as the youth are so fond of saying. I feel like maybe this is we were in a pre-cringe era with this show, in a much more kind of like sentimental time.
Yeah, like they might see it as too transactional, where we probably at 12 and 13 we're not thinking about.
Or they're worried about it aging poorly because, you know, they like the first Spider-Man movie that Sam Raimi did. It's like, oh yeah, remember Macy Gray is in the movie at the Macy's Day Parade, and people always like kind of cringe about that. Like people, it feels so 90s now.
It's possible.
With Riverdale, it has to be a conscious decision because you know who does the soundtrack supervision for Riverdale's Alexandra Paslavas.
I love this.
That show is fucking bonkers, by the way.
That show speaking of One Tree Hill, and literally One Tree Hill this time, Chad Michael Murray is a cult leader. And he makes his like great escape in an Evel Knievel jumpsuit. And fucking Shelly from Twin Peaks is like chasing him down. And she's like, you won't get away with this. And he's like, and Chad Michael Murray, I get away with everything. And then he just takes off. Riverdale is such a good goddamn show. And the music supervision is naturally pretty goddamn good. I've looked at a number of songs that they've used on the show before. So yeah. Our friend Alexandra, we got to get her on this podcast.
I don't know how to do it, but
can we start that letter writing campaign? Because then that's what we'll do. We'll try to get her on for the One Tree Hill to talk about like where she might have been copied.
I just think that since you have both the One Tree Hill research and experience getting Peter Gallagher's attention on Twitter, that you may be the most logical candidate for this. So we're gonna workshop it.
This is going to be our like evil marketing ploy. It's good. This is going to be our evil marketing ploy. But yes, so where were we? Death Cab featured on this show. Yes, it's probably one of the reasons I got into Death Cab. They had their big favorites, but then I feel like the bands that had the most viral musical moments were not your Rudies and Death Cabs. I feel like, and maybe you guys will disagree, but I think to me, besides, I get that Imogen Heap is the big one because everybody kind of knows what you say of it all. The other big musical moment is one where they only feature the artist one time, which is Finley K or Finley Keys Dice, the New Year's Kiss. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was watching that show, that song locked into my brain, and I've probably never had a crush on someone without picturing us making out to that song. I don't think it ever happened. I think that's what it is.
Well, and I think they chose some very pivotal moments, and I think they saved a lot of their strongest tracks for like finales, cliffhangers, things that were really, really sticky. They premiered Coldplay's Fix You when that one dude died of a heart attack, which is such a Scrubs move to me. That feels so Scrubs. But
I remember, because then it was like the Enchantment Under the Sea ass dance that Seth was involved. Like, I remember Fix You. There was like the prom-y thing, but then also because this show was so goddamn good and they knew what they were doing, they would have like Seth and Summer reuniting at this dance, and then also someone getting like hit by a car or like overdosing on ketamine, and you're just like, yeah, great. Life's little juxtapositions. Next week on the OC. Here's what's in store. Like, that's what they did. There was always a little juxtaposition moment.
But you really had the perfect combination of like absolutely batshit teen drama and songs that you were predisposed to absolutely loving.
Again, so much of this show is so formative for me. But Dice, I've listened to that song thousands of times ever since. That to me is maybe the song I most associate with the OC. Like, I can't think about the OC without the song. I can't think about the song without the OC. And I mean, I'm looking through here and there are artists that I love. Fountains of Wayne, Adam Schlesinger is my
That's so good.
May his memory be eternally a blessing. That man is my king. I grew up going to the Fountains of Wayne Christmas display every year with my parents. My heart is full of Fountains of Wayne. Chris Collingwood just followed me on Instagram, and it was like, I truly was sitting there.
Follows me on Blue Sky.
Yeah, I was sitting there like Home Alone style, hands over my face, silent scream of like, I'm humbled into the ground over this. I could not believe. I messaged him. I was like, listen, I don't do this, but like, I love you. Like, you are important to me. You don't know me, but you're important to me. And Fountains of Wayne is on the OC, but like, that didn't stick in my mind as much as this one song, Dice. And I mean, I'm looking here too, Elliott Smith. They did deep with Elliott. They did Pretty Ugly Before and Twilight. I mean, Eagles of Death Metal is on here. Like, stuff that I listened to quite a fair amount, but it didn't really like draw me in at that time, which is interesting. It's the sort of one-off artists that were included in here that really captured my attention. Oh my God, Brendan Benson was on this. Bright Eyes, it looks like there might have only been one Bright Eyes play, which is kind of shocking.
It is kind of shocking. Yeah, I feel like they were mentioned more than they were heard.
Yeah, the Wikipedia is only mentioning Blue Christmas, the cover. And I'm not sure if I could go on TuneFind and pull up like how many Bright Eyes songs were on the OC. Like, I don't think that would work. But that's the only one it's listing, and it's not saying that they're on any of the mixes. Oh, they loved Block Party on this show.
And again, I think Block Party was one of those bands that was breaking up and coming. People were excited about. Pitchfork was all over. So I'm sure there was a lot of, like, okay, well, let's just get like a whole Block Party album then. Let's just license that whole shebang, right?
Yeah, because they all have to be like Banquet, right?
Let's see. I can tell you.
Keep upward trajectory.
It's Banquet. It's Blue Light. The Engineers Anti-Gravity mix specifically. It's I Still Remember, it's Kreuzberg, it's Positive Tension, and Pioneers. And then, this is probably how I found this song. The next song listed on the Wikipedia is The Goddamn Blood Arm with Stay Put. Does either one of you know the Blood Arm?
I don't actually.
Oh, this is one of those weird facts about me that you did not ask to learn, and now too bad you're learning it. If I ever got into stripping or burlesque, I would probably only do songs by the Blood Arm. I've pictured myself learning, like we all kind of picture ourselves learning little things. Like, I've pictured myself doing like elaborate pole dances, not even like sexy, like the Olympic style pole dances where it's just like this person has 87 abs and they're using all of them to walk up, while like holding the pole. Yeah. The Blood Arm.
Most people are like, I just want to know what my karaoke song would be if I were put on the spot. And you're like, I actually also need a back pocket pole dancing song.
Also, I stand corrected. There is a Bright Eyes cover on here. Betty Serviert doing Lover I Don't Have to Love.
Oh, I've not heard that band name in a really long time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't, no offense to Betty Serviert. I don't know her. I don't know her story. I don't know her narrative.
I think it's a band name. I don't think it's a person.
Let's see. Let's take a look.
I feel like they were like on Matador or something in like 1995.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. The name translates to Betty Serves or Service to Betty, which is the title of a book written by Dutch tennis player Betty Stuve. It's like an O, but with the umlaut. So it's like Stuve, who made it to the Wimbledon ladies singles final in 1977. They learned about Betty Stuve. I don't know how to say this. Okay, so yes, the band Betty Serviert did a cover of Lover I Don't Have to Love. But listen, if you're getting that incel anthem at the ready, I really hear it. I can only hear it from Connor, or I can only hear it from like one of my girlfriends if they've just ended their situationship of 13 months.
So this is going to sound
correct take.
This is very silly, but I feel like Connor's voice, it is, so very specific. That's
the best word for it.
It may be too specific for like network TV. Like too
specific for network TV is the most diplomatic way of putting the fact that like he can't really sing.
So So for one, Phoebe Bridgers says that he raps, and then second of all,
That's upsetting.
She's not wrong.
because they have that Better Oblivion community album, and
community
she's
center,
like,
yeah.
"Thanks for rapping my lyrics, Connor."
He basically does. You're right. She's right.
And then so when that second Dintel album came out, Dumb Luck, the single was a song with Connor, and I remember I was dating this girl who, you know, listened to mostly like just like pop music, and when that song came up, she had the most horrified face. That like, who the fuck is this guy singing? I was like, it's Connor Oberst. He's really popular, and she was just like, this is not singing.
It ruined the mood. My favorite thing in the world is when like your kind of normie friends that only listen to like pretty mainstream music. God love them, right? Bless those people. You do you. But it's really funny when you'll have like a playlist on that completely like kills their conception of like, what the fuck is this? And then you have to rethink like, oh yeah, I guess that is objectively bad singing.
Yeah. You should have told this girl you were dating, like, oh, that's Connor Oberst. He dates Winona Ryder. Because he dated Winona Ryder.
Oh, he did. I remember the pap pics. I was so into Connor Oberst at a certain period of time that I like tried to emulate like the string that he wore around his neck. Like it was stupid. Yeah. Don't get me started. It was embarrassing.
A photo of Connor taped to my ceiling.
Tara.
I love like to this. This is
you just saw him at that Big Thief show, right?
I did. He was at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery Big Thief show. This sounds awful. My friend saw him coming out of the porta potties at the Big Thief show, being characteristically drunk, which is how we knew it was Connor, because he was like drunk and then immediately started smoking a cigarette without washing his hands outside the porta potty. And then he like snuck behind a mausoleum and talked to like some whatever 25-year-olds. So definitely Connor, confirmed sighting.
I love him. He's always going to be a fave for me, no matter whether I want that to be the case or not. But like,
yeah, I'm not proud.
I do. I love that man. I'm friends with his attorney.
Is he a busy man, Connor Oberst's attorney? I would love to know more.
He would be an amazing person to bring on this podcast. He let's see, who does he work for? He works for like Diarrhea Planet. He works for Titus Andronicus. As a matter of fact, the last time I saw Titus, Patrick Stickles did this whole long speech, which very, very Patrick thing to do. And Patrick specifically shouted out Matthew Kaplan, the attorney. And I looked at Matthew and I went, oh my God, it's you. Because I was there at the show with him. And Matthew, the coolest man in the world, wears the only person who should be allowed to wear a fedora, was there with this like gorgeous fedora, a big like 3-inch circumference cigar, and a long like pimp fur coat. And Matthew's just like, yeah, it's me. And I'm like, it's fucking incredible. But apparently, I mean, from everything I've heard from Matthew, Connor's a good guy. I've seen photos of Connor holding Matthew's tiny like 6-month-old daughter, just with like a big smile on his face, and like here's Ariana just like biggest like roundest cheeks ever, beaming. So apparently he's okay.
Well, that soothes the part of me that feels sometimes a little conflicted about my continued love and affection for Connor. But
like, Matthew's loved him and worked with him for many years. So I'm hoping I get to meet him someday. But I think Matthew knows that I probably should not, because I don't know what the fuck I would say. I'd be like, hi.
Well, at some point when you meet, heavy breathing would be me, like, because at some point you have to admit, like, oh, I've seen you like 57 times, and I once flew to Omaha in the dead of winter to watch you play. So hope that's not weird for you.
Wait,
but can we talk about that? Yeah, no, literally.
Oh my God.
2001. I'm like, we're going to Mecca, friend. Let's go to Omaha, because we thought that was like
Saddle Creek. Cool, let's go.
Yeah, some cool Saddle Creek shit to do. Like, we made the pilgrimage to Omaha on December 26th.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
I've seen him a number of times now. I've seen Mystic Valley Band. I've seen Bright Eyes. I saw him play, and I saw Daniel Johnston open for him, and I cried.
We saw Daniel Johnston open for Neutral Milk.
I was just about to say that, like, that I another RIP, you know, bless Daniel Johnston for his talent. He's amazing. It also made me very teary when we saw it.
Did they ever put Daniel? No. So apparently the only Daniel Johnston that's listed here, which is shocking, because I have to imagine that at some point they show Seth in a Daniel Johnston t-shirt, like the alien.
Oh, yeah.
have to imagine.
I would assume there would be some covers, right?
There's only one that I'm seeing, and
True
it's
Love Will Find You. Is True Love Will Find You somewhere in the end, somewhere in this?
Yeah,
I believe Death Cab also covers that song.
Daniel Johnston
Oh,
cover.
it's the back cover of it. I think at the time when a bunch of artists did a Daniel Johnston covers album, I think it might be off that.
It probably, because like Conor Oberst did Devil-Town off that one. I love that. That's how I got into Daniel Johnston in the first place, because I found that.
Oh, Death Cab did Dream Scream, I think.
Ooh. Yeah, it's kind of shocking to see like who's on this and who isn't. Jose Gonzalez, for example, is on this, but it's not the song you would think it is.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a trip down memory lane, but it's also like, it's kind of, with rare exceptions, like, it's banger after banger. These are good songs. These are like solid tracks and choices, and even the covers, maybe with a few exceptions, are not. Yeah, they're not bad.
I want to go
we have yet to talk about the theme song.
I was just going to say, we'd be remiss if we didn't, speaking of like inexplicable crushes on people when we were young, like I'm absolutely bananas for Jason Schwartzman. I just always have been. He's amazing to me. So let's talk about Phantom Planet.
Was he playing with them when they did this song? I'm not sure though.
Let's find out.
He might have already left.
Let's see.
He already left before they made this song. I refuse to believe that.
Let's see. Okay, so wait, Phantom Planet. I'm checking the Wikipedia right now. Let's see. Past members, Jason Schwartzman, blah, 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 blah. Speaking of Jason Schwartzman, though, they absolutely do West Coast by Coconut Records on this show. And I had karaoke last year for my birthday, and I barely knew him, but my friend's boyfriend showed up. First song he puts down, West Coast. And I looked at her and I went, marry that man right now. Get pregnant, hole in the condom, do it now. Like, I was like, that is me. Like he didn't know I love this song, but he did it anyway. Let's see, Schwartzman. I'm trying to figure out. The band featured actor Jason Schwartzman on drums until 2003. And when did California technically come out? 2002. So that was most likely him. That had to be.
I feel like I have a memory of Jason Schwartzman in the music video for California, so I'm pretty certain he was still in the band at that point.
Also, wait, I don't know if you guys knew this, but holy shit. Okay, so wait, I'm going to read some information here. The song was first heard on television on episode 8 of the television show Fastlane, which was a crime drama of some kind. Yeah,
I think it was on Fox, right? Sounds like it was on that.
Peter Facinelli from Twilight, Bill Bellamy, and Tiffany Thiessen, created by Mick G, my king. Mick G, honestly, for Charlie's Angels alone, let alone the OC, everything else, Mick G is kind of my king. So there's Fastlane. Then the OC. It was also previously in the soundtrack to the film Orange County. Hello. And it was also
written by Mike White. I just remembered that Mike White wrote.
My goddamn prince of my life.
Now I need to watch it.
Put on Enlightened. Mike White's Enlightened, I prefer to The White Lotus. I will die on that hill. Enlightened is the goddamn best. Queen Laura Dern. Also, California was featured on the episode Millhouse of Sand and Fog of The Simpsons. So there you go. Now here's where I'm losing my mind a little bit. The estates of Al Jolson and his songwriting team are co-credited for California. Mm-hmm. Al Jolson, bitch? Al Jolson?
Presumably. That's Al Jolson, right? the jazz singer?
Yeah, presumably.
I'm doing jazz hands. You can't see me, but it's happening.
Yeah, please get some like screen grab of that so we can include that in the promo materials. Presumably this is the case because the title and chorus bear strong resemblance to Al Jolson's California Here I Come.
California, here I come, right back where I started from. That, right?
Yeah.
Do they bear a similarity? I don't know.
This is a strange thing to see on Wikipedia because there's no...
And this is before the whole Robin Thicke Marvin Gaye thing.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah.
Well before.
It's a weird, unsubstantiated thing from Wikipedia. Some websites refer to the Phantom Planet song as a cover of the Jolson tune. It says this on Wikipedia. Nobody put any sources. Some parts of the song, particularly
Al Jolson's great grandson.
This is interesting. Some parts of the song, particularly the piano solos at the beginning and end, are similar to the Jolson song, but still contain several differences in melody. It also bears some thematic and melodic resemblance to Joni Mitchell's California. The song was re-recorded in 2005 by Phantom Planet and re-released as California 2005, a much mellower version of the song than the original, which to me, I haven't heard it. I don't think I want to hear it. It sounds fucking stupid because that song needs to go hard.
It needs.
And that one probably doesn't have Jason Schwartzman.
You need to be able to scream that song like in a VW Jetta with the windows down. And if you can't, then it doesn't need to exist.
The day that I went to that OC anniversary party, I remember us all watching it and singing along to the theme song. No one asked us to sing along. We all were just like, we're doing this. And everybody was just like arms out, like, here we go. Like everybody was going for it. The California 2005 version had its debut in the second episode of the OC's third season and is featured on Music from the OC Mix 5. Oh, wait. Although normally this version of the song runs as the title song for the OC, it was switched out for the Mates of State cover version in a special episode where everything in the show took place in an alternate universe, hence a different song for the title sequence. I think I remembered that. I think that's later in the show, like when it's Marissa's little sister and stuff, but interesting. Mates of State.
Whenever I hear Mates of State, I feel like I'm in an alternate universe.
I was just going to say, I think we just won some kind of like early 2000s bingo going through that. Yeah. That was the final bingo is Mates of the State.
Wow. God. So that's like a lot more information about that theme song than I would have assumed I ever needed to know. And yet, here it is.
Yeah, Phantom Planet also has a cover of Our House by CSNY.
Yeah.
From what I remember, they were just a bunch of rich kids from LA.
I was going to say that, like, I think the most authentically California thing about all of the music is probably the inclusion of Phantom Planet, just because they're kind of a bunch of like weird Hollywood kids and Nepo babies, whereas a lot of this other music is very.
My friend said they're the LA Strokes.
They're the LA Strokes. They kind of are
very good.
I don't hate it. I'm not mad, but they're definitely the most authentic, I think, to what California like actually is and sounds like and might be in that era.
I mean, they used to play shows all the time with Maroon 5, like.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm looking through this list now. Like I'm scrolling. Really, some of this. So there are 2 Black Eyed Peas songs on this list, and I'm wondering if like Black Eyed Peas were seen as kind of alt when this came out. Because now, I mean, we look at the Black Eyed Peas. And
is it pre or post Fergie?
Let's see.
Because pre-Fergie, they were almost considered like a socially conscious, like kind of like Tribe Called Quest offshoot sort of rap group.
That's insane.
Okay, so the first one, these might have both been Fergie. I don't know if I know off the top of my head the song Hands Up. That one might be a Fergie, might not be a Fergie, but then no, it had to be a Fergie because they used the Black Eyed Peas twice in the first season. One is Let's Get It Started.
Yeah, that one is definitely.
So that's definitely Fergie. And if they're both in the first season, I'm guessing they used.
And that's the edited title. It's supposed to be Let's Get Retarded.
Which I'm so glad they got. Absolutely the worst thing. Like there are. I hate that. I loathe that word so much. And even I remember at that age when that song came out, I was like, why is this on the radio? Because it was on the radio for a minute and then people were like, can we not possibly like drag like young children with Down syndrome or like into this web of like Will.i.am's mess? Can we not?
Yeah, the culture was not great in 2003. Let's just be honest about that. I think some of the songs like that, though, they've got to be like, we played it at a house party. There, was like a moment where we needed to use Puddle of Mud because Puddle of Mud pops up in here too, right? So I think there's some things that are like certainly through that, like they're kind of put through that Seth filter, and there are things that are very like indie, and then there's like Rob Zombie is in here for some
the 1-2 punch of this is so funny because in Wikipedia obviously has everything in alphabetical order. So it's Black Eyed Peas' Let's Get It Started right into Black Flag's Wasted. Just traveled here. There's a lot. And then I mean there are songs that are used in the show, like Bob Seger's Night Moves very specifically is used because Julie talks about Bob Seger. Like that's a specific thing. I'm trying to see. I just saw another one where it's like they specifically mention the song. Oh, End of the Road, which I think Seth might have played during the Anna breakup, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew this. Samira Armstrong, who played Anna, is like the trumpet.
Yeah.
She's literally deeply, deeply involved in the recall efforts to like recall Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, I have seen such things.
Yeah.
What a disappointing turn.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to do like a complete rundown of where all of the characters on the OC are now.
I mean, I think Chris Carmack is doing well. He was on Grey's Anatomy. So like he's doing great for himself, but in that great way of probably like he doesn't get recognized every moment of the day, but is collecting a nice paycheck and occasionally is getting like a 45-year-old woman like, oh my God, I love you on Grey's Anatomy. Like good for him. I think that's nice. Sometimes you just need that confidence boost of someone coming up to you on the street, but he's not like having to do the Taylor Swift, like, oh, I have to build like a tunnel to get into my house because I have to drive from here into this tunnel to get into my house and no one sees me. Like, you know, I'm not going to have Jack Antonoff and Margaret Qualley's wedding crashed because I'm there,
Right.
which I find is crazy, especially because they got married on like Long Beach Island. As someone who lives in New Jersey, I'm like, Long Beach Island should never have that many people in it.
That must have been wild for you to watch that entire scene.
It's not architecturally sound enough to support that many feet on the ground.
Taylor, it's not architecturally sound.
That shit was ravaged by Sandy.
It's like Molly Shannon on that last season of the other two.
Yes.
The deeper I go on this very extensive list of music from the OC, by the way, the more weird shit that I find. Like, why is there a Sia cover of Radiohead's Paranoid Android?
Wait, Sia was on the OC?
Someone help. There's a cover of Paranoid Android by Sia.
Wait,
this is 2003, so I don't think she's that popular.
This feels like forbidden knowledge.
That's what I'm saying. Like, some of the things I'm seeing here are so early for that artist. Like, there's an MIA song on this soundtrack. And she was not, like, I don't think she blew up for a couple more years after that. So, I mean, it goes to show you there aren't as many plants as you would assume. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, this person's a plant, that person's a plant. It's like, a lot of these folks were putting out, you know, like you've like Carly Rae Jepsen's first album that nobody talks about because they always assume that Carly's first album is, you know,
Call Me
is
Maybe.
the one with Call Me Maybe. Yeah. So like it is just very interesting. It wouldn't have shocked me if I saw Carly Rae Jepsen listed on here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So sorry to cut this short, but I think I gotta take my daughter to a birthday party.
Can you do me a favor? This is a question to be edited out. Can we edit out that other whole bit?
Yeah.
It'll just be for me and you guys. Now you know.
Okay. Yeah, we'll edit that out.
Thank you.
But thank you, Tara, for coming back on the podcast.
Oh God. Thank you guys for having me. This was, despite the fact that I pulled this out of my ass, I'm actually very proud of my appearance today. So thank you. And we'll definitely do One Tree Hill, hopefully with Alexandra Patsavas in tow.
Yes. We'll manifest that. Where can people find your Substack?
Sure. So it's taragiancaspro.substack.com. You'll see my name in the episode notes. Everybody says Giancaspro instead of Giancaspro. I don't know why you all insist on adding more vowels. Like, you don't need to force me to perform my culture beyond how I already do. And when you tell me that my last name is Giancaspro, you're making me add more Italianness to what I'm already bringing you. And I find that offensive. Let's see. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Sweaty Lamar. Sweaty Lamar is because I have music out on Spotify and Apple and whatever Deezer is. I don't know why Deezer exists. Everything I've learned about Deezer, as I always say, I've learned against my will. But yeah, Sweaty Lamar is available everywhere. I have a song called Abby, I'm Sorry I Stole Your Man, which is a sequel to Jolene from Jolene's perspective. A bunch of people streamed it in Lithuania recently, like 500 streams. I don't know what's happening there. But if you're one of those Lithuanians, like, thank you from New Jersey. Love you, Lithuania. Hopefully next is Brazil, because, you know, I won't rest until I get a come to Brazil at some point from somebody. So there's that. So let's see. Yeah. Twitter, Instagram, @SweatyLamar with 2 R's. Substack, I post every week, once a week. If you don't know what Substack is, most people don't. Like, everybody out there, like, I don't know what Substack is. It's literally a blog. You put your email address in at the top, and they just send you a Substack, a blog you can read in your email inbox every week. You don't even have to open a link. It's really great. Learn what it is. Every time I post, like, my new Substack's up, people just say, what's a Substack? And I'm like, click the link.
If you are not subscribed to Tara's Substack, you are absolutely missing out on some of the best pop culture insights and VIP access into this woman's wonderful, brilliant brain. Please, please go find her on Substack. It will improve your life and clear your skin.
Oh.
And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky @SoundtrackCast. We also have a Patreon. Patreon.com/soundtrackyourlife. We'll have a new episode up soon about our trip to the Hollywood Bowl to watch Ben Gibbard do double duty. And yeah. Thank you again, Tara. It was a blast having you back.
This was great.
And we'll have you back once we get Alexandra to talk some One Tree Hill.
Yes, please.
Thanks for joining us this week on Soundtrack Your Life. Make sure to visit our website, soundtrackyourlife.net, where you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too.